Adi Owais was lounging with his kids in his Maryland home last week when his phone lit up with alerts from friends in Syria. Islamists connected to the new government were on their way to the country's coastal Alawite region. Graphic video soon arrived in his group's chats. Entire families slaughtered, and row after row of dead Syrians lined the streets. Some of the victims were his Alawite friends. He now fears for the future of the Syrian church. Owais, who works for the international non-profit focused on interfaith dialogue, is a member of the Syrian Greek Orthodox community, lived in Damascus, Syria's capital, until 2009. He was shocked by the violent campaign against people he once lived among. Christianity Today agreed not to use his real name to protect his Syrian family members. Islamists killed more than 1,300 people, according to the UK-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. Most of the victims were civilians from the Alawite community, the minority Shia sect to which former President Bashar al-Assad belongs. Clashes between the government forces and the armed remnant of Assad's regime in the provinces of Latakia and Tartus last week led to a sectarian violence as Sunni militia descended on the region. Alawites, who held prominent position under Assad's rule, have a history of living side by side with Christians. It freaked us out, Owais said. We couldn't sleep. It was a very painful few days. Owais confirmed that deaths of 10 Christians through his channels in Syria, but he doesn't believe the government forces and rogue militia are intentionally targeting the Christian community. They see us as infidels, as people who don't believe in what they believe in, Owais said. At the same time, they don't see us as people, only persecuted them in the past. Still, Syrian Christians are worried, wondering if the new government will target them next. The revenge killings mark the worst violence since the December ouster of Assad. Ahmed al-Shara, who's also known as al-Gulani, led the Sunni movement to overthrow Assad and now serves as Syria's interim president. Many Syrians welcomed the end of Assad's 24-year grip on power. His Ba'ath Party ruled more than 5 decades and was guilty of numerous atrocities against Syrians. Yet Sarraj's former ties to al-Qaeda have raised concerns that Syrians may be exchanged one violent regime for another. Christians and other minorities, including Alawites, Kurds, and Druze, could face increasing threats, said Nina Shea, director of the Center for Religious Freedom in the Hudson Institute. There are no restraints for the protection of religious minorities, says Shea, who served in the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom 7 times. It opened season to them. Some reports categorize Syria's conflict as ethnic in nature, but Shea believes religion is the primary driver. She tracks Islamist regimes and observed patterns of religious oppression in Iraq, Nigeria, and Syria. The killings may not be done on orders, but I'd be surprised if the government protects Christians or anyone else, she said. According to Shea, Shara has a has a tenuous hold on power and directs a coalition of radicals that includes hardened jihadist fighters from Chechnya, Uzbekistan, and other countries. She believes Syria's interim president is a radical Islamist who projects a moderate image to the West to secure sanction relief and aid. The United States condemns the radical Islamic terrorists, including the former jihadis that murdered people in western Syria in recent days. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that in a statement Sunday he called on the Syrian government to pursue justice. Sharar's office has said it would create an independent committee to investigate the killings of both sides. No one will be above the law, and all those whose hands are stained with Syria's blood will face justice, fairly and without delay, Sharar said in a speech Sunday. Hawaii's questions widely circulated social media posts describing a Christian slaughter, and he said reports claiming a priest died during the attacks were false. But he's still concerned that the future of Syria's Christian community, since Islamists view Christians as low-hanging fruit. It's a house you can go to without any resistance because they know that Christians don't have arms, Owais said, and they are not clustered in one place like the Alawites, where they can resist for a long time. Ovalle said Syrian forces looted hundreds of Christian homes during the assault on Alawite communities between the coastal towns of Tartus and Latakia. Jihadis stormed the home of Alawai's friend and spared his life after discovering his Christian identity, but they stole his car. Theft is also prevalent in Christian communities that churches typically hide their icons during the week and display them on Sunday only. Ovalle said some icons were more than 400 years old and very valuable. Shea said the Syrian Christian population has dwindled significantly in the past few decades, now numbers around 300,000. While no surveys have been conducted, Ovalle said Catholic and Greek Orthodox estimates are more optimistic at a range of 600,000 to 1 million. Despite the indiscriminate killings and targeted theft, many Christians are choosing to stay in Syria and maintain a low profile, according to Christians with connections to the country. At the same time, some reports suggest that thousands of Syrians are crossing the border to Lebanon. Those who stay those who stay face threats on multiple fronts. A group around 500 Kurdish Christians from the northern town of Afrin has been displaced multiple times due to fighting between Turkish militias and a Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Front. A group of around 500 Kurdish Christians from the northern town of Afrin have been displaced multiple times due to fighting against Kurdish militias and the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, said Majad Kurdi, a US-based Iraqi Kurdish pastor working with Freedom Seekers International to provide aid to the group. Tensions increased when the new government pressured armed groups to emerge with the national military. The Kurdish Christians who are currently living in Aleppo, Syria, are part of the non-denominational Good Shepherd Church, but currently have no place to safely meet. The church has added more Kurds to its group each time it has evacuated a town or refugee camp. The group is now swelled to around 1,200, including many non-believers who are interested in Christianity, according to Kurdi, but their situation is precarious. The militias are from time to time trying to attack the Christian, Kurdi said, and especially they are looking for converted Muslims to Christianity. Kurdi said Turkish backed mercenaries who oppose the Kurdish presence in the border regions have kidnapped Kurds, including women on the way to market as far south as Aleppo. All these powers are clashing in the area, said Kurdi. That's why it's impossible to have unity. Nobody listens to the others. On Monday, the SDF agreed to merge with the new Syrian government, Kurdi said, an arrangement a good beginning between both sides, but he doesn't think it will curtail Turkish assaults on Kurds. Another looming question is whether the 9,000 ISIS prisoners the SDF currently guard will be transferred to the new Syrian government. Hawaii said the broader Christian community is the least armed group in Syria. Now Christians fear mobs connected to Sharia's ruling Islamic group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham could turn against them in an instant. Yet Christians maintain a measure of hope. We are not we are not good at the art of war at all, but we are good at the art of peace, Owais said. Throughout Syria's decades of turmoil, Christians have developed relationships with Alawites, Druze, and Sunni Muslims, Owais said. Some Christian communities have sponsored dinners that bring various factions together. On Monday, Sharia claimed that the revenge killings were contained and vowed to bring those responsible to justice. But the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights claimed the targeted killings have since continued. Some Syrians question Sharia's intentions, and voice knows the road ahead will be difficult and complex. But any plans could be an opportunity for progress. The militias left the Alawite region, but so we hope for reconciliation, White said. For Christians fighting in an armed manner or resisting them is almost impossible and could result in a genocide for the Christian population. Please continue to pray for our brothers and sisters in Syria and around the world. Until next time, take care.